Hello and welcome everyone to our Arabic NLP series. Today we will be discussing classical Arabic, and this is the first time that I discuss about classical Arabic, and this is actually was like requested by some of the people who follow the series and watch it. So most of our talking about MSA and classical Arabic NLP, but today I wanted to give like introduction and also exploring the state of classical Arabic and NLP. Let me be honest with you. The work on classical Arabic and NLP are like underrepresented. Most of the people work hard on dialect and MSA mainly, but when it comes to classical Arabic, there are some challenges that we are going to discuss that might be like a limitation or need like some initial work on data and other stuff to be able to build like models in NLP. Today we will dive into this and we will talk more about the challenges that we have. But first, let's start by defining what is classical Arabic. And based on the resources, it is primarily known as the language of Holy Quran, and it was like also language spoken by Arabs in the era of pre-Islamic and also in the early Islam or period of Islam. So making it like the language of a classical Islamic text, and actually it is much of the early Arabic literature. So historically, it was like celebrated for its elegance and clarity. Now, why not used in every day as I mentioned by like Arab spoken like communication, but it remains like highly familiar, especially among Muslim Arabic speakers. Okay, so through their study of the Quran, of course, and it is like a very fundamental and rich and also like complex language with deep history and intricate with the grammatical rules, let's say. Okay, so the question now, why it is like crucial to apply NLP techniques to classical Arabic? And this is very important question, by the way. The language holds the keys, as I told you, of culture insights from the Quran, and and beyond that, it is the language of like historical and classical texts that cover like Islamic knowledge, literature, and also biographical collections. So processing these texts, okay, computationally, like it will bridge the gap between the past and the present, like revealing the heart of Islamic heritage, of course. And for researchers, actually, it is essential for doing some research or deep research, let's say. And in this paper that I just showed you in the beginning of the video, they show some use cases with different application, which is important to be like developed and improved with more data and better data, let's say, to enable to build like the whole NLP framework for classical Arabic. Okay, so this is very essential. But we have a challenge side. And of course, when it comes to Arabic language, there are many challenges that doesn't exist in different languages, like English. So when it comes to classical Arabic specifically, processing these uh, language with NLP, uh, as I mentioned, faces some significant challenges. Like the primary thing is it like severe the lack of adequate training datasets specifically for classical Arabic text. This is also means there is like an absence of historical, sorry, absence of historical and the absence of accurate, let's say, which is we call it accurate of the shelf models, like NLP models that use the language or the classical language in particular. And as I mentioned, uh, most of the state-of-the-art models are trained primarily on MSA. So the language itself is complex with intricate grammar, unique structures like traditional Arabic names, which differ significantly from modern ones, okay? And also the vocabulary deeply rooted into historical context. Also, creating the necessary training data is non-trivial. I mean, it demands domain experts, okay, which is specialized in knowledge to perform accurate and manual annotation. So these are the main four challenges that we have when it comes to classical Arabic. Let me show you now a use case, and it will be focus on historical paragraphs, and then from this point we are going to talk about the different NLP tasks. Okay, just to start with the project, we have a good corpus here consists of 71 million tokens. And this might be your start if you want to work on classical Arabic, because this is very popular and also a good quality data set that can be applied on different focus areas here, like entity recognition, classification of person relations, top-new classification, onomastic section, boundaries detection, and classification, and many other uh, application that we are going to see. By this, we are trying to tackle some of these challenges that I mentioned already, and also give the opportunity for researchers to go deep in these different applications that exist when it comes to classical Arabic and historical paragraphs. Okay. So also, let me just tell you about this part, which is the methodology. Okay, so the methodology is designed to start with some base models, right? Using these, and also not only using these models, but also generate some language, some large and accurate training data sets. Okay, so this is the strategy: is to generate the large accurate training data sets needed for these models, and then when manual attenuations are which is requires expert knowledge. Okay, so we need some pipeline for generating some of these data sets for training. So as base model, let me mention here camel paired classical. Okay, and this is model this mask language model that is trained to serve the classical Arabic mainly, and you can access from Hugging Face for people who want to work on this. Okay, and actually, let me tell you something here. This is the only existing pre-trained model that are specifically for our classical Arabic. When it comes to MSA or dialect, we are going to see many of these models, right? Like Arbert, Roberta, and many of other models, Arbert, Marbert. There are many different mask language models that are specified for MSA, and some of them are for dialect. But this is the only existing one actually for classical Arabic. So this making it is very crucial to start, right, as a starting point. But the process that was reported in the paper involves initial annotation and then manual correction by domain experts, then fine-tuning the model or the base model with this refined data. And using these improved models to annotate more text and repeating the cycle until they reach a good stable performance level is very important. So this is what they proposed in 2023 with different applications. And let me first start with the most popular, let's say, name entity recognition task, right? And here the goal is to identify and classify, of course, the entities in these historical biograms. Okay. So uh, as I mentioned, we have different, of course, categories, and the goal is to classify and identify them. And as I mentioned, like it is like the structural difference between traditional and modern Arabic names uh, involve creating different sets that are suitable for this task, right? So this is very important. And you can refer to the paper to see the different examples of these text. So the approach is to fine tune the camel paired SA. They have also like name entity recognition model using the refined dataset as I mentioned, and it is coming from the historical corpus that I showed you. So uh, they showed also like some results about this using F1 score and uh, and comparing with the zero shot model, the original model, they achieved like some significant improvements, okay, by 34%. So reflecting the model that able to learn the patterns of traditional names and uh, and also like give like a potential for these different entities to be recognized by a fine-tuned system. They also apply different, let's say, NLP tasks. So moving like beyond simply identifying people, the project here is aimed to classify them. Okay, so it classify actually the relations between to the name subject of the biography and the biography. Okay, so the defined classes here is include like teacher, student, opinion, family, contact, and also there is undefined category. So the approach involves training the models to classify these relations based on expert annotation, as I mentioned, and also the results shows like good performance for classes, especially for teacher and students. Uh, and if you go to the paper and see, you will see these entities are having like much from the data set. So it will give, of course, like better performance when it comes to others. Okay. Uh, so this is the idea. So this relation classification is crucial for for the project's larger goal of modeling the complex social networks present within these historical Islamic communities, as we mentioned earlier about the showcase, right? And also there is like another task similarly comes, but classification of the place names. Okay, uh, so the project classify their significance to the biography, and classical include the places of birth, death, and much knowledge and much other classes. So while they have like trained models for this, including evaluating against the base rule-based model, let's say the performance is not yet strong, but they mentioned because of the smaller size of the manually labeled datasets available for this type of toponym classification. So a key part of their going work, and this is like open for community to start actively expand the training dataset to significantly improve the model's performance in this special area. Okay, we have something called onomastic entity recognition, and this is like a unique and also important task for these biographical text. So here the focus on the complex structure of traditional Arabic names, and this involves actually two parts. So the first one is detecting the boundaries of the onomastic section. Okay, and at the start of each biography, which contains names and background details. So they treat this as a token classification task and have achieved good performance in identifying the section, identifying the onomastic section of the biography, achieving like good F1 score and good performance here. The second one is about onomastic element classification. And when it comes to this part, they classify the different elements that make up a transitional name. Okay, so these include the personal name, the lineage, and descriptive names indicating affiliations, and other titles, like as you can see here. Okay, other entities. So this classification is also done via using like token classification, and they deal with it like a classification task, and they achieve good results in this task. Also, we have like recognizing, classifying, and also parsing the data information, right, or the date, sorry, information. So the goal here is to find dates mentioned in the text, understand what event they refer to, for example, the birth, death, knowledge, office, and others. Okay, so convert the textual description into a numerical value. This is one of the first, let's say, steps in the pipeline. And then initial approach, they use like rule-based methods involving like regular expressions, okay, for detection of the dates. And then they like analyzing surrounding rows for classification, and looking up for numerical values. Also, when it comes to the parsing or converting the number to numbers, working very well for the dates and like they are explicitly recognized. However, like as they mentioned, classifying the event type faces challenges. Okay, partly due to the context limits in the rules. The task is not easy, so it is complex, and it has like implicit information, approximate dates, and sometimes like multiple dates mentioned for the same event, right? So also they propose like a future work on improving data recognition and handle more of these complexities. So yeah, many challenges and limitations could be analyzed from this research paper and the task they proposed. And the fundamental thing is the lack of the data, right, of the training data, which is considered as the core limitation when it comes to classical languages. So creating this data requires experts in the domain, and also it needs time and resources to to work on. For some classification tasks, like determining the exact type of toponym relation or handling ambiguous dates, also present like inherent complexity. And to mitigate this, actually, to mitigate these obstacles with limited resources, the project they propose has adopted strategies like active learning to efficiently generate data, and in some cases, they simplify the numbers of labels or splitting classification tasks to improve the model performance. But still, I mean, with limited data, everything will be like limited, right? We so if the community actually and the research field focus on creating training data and then improve the previous mentioned task, it would be like impressive for classical Arabic and NLP. So looking ahead, the project has like they provide actually a clear roadmap, and I like the paper. That's why I consider it the main paper when I created this video. And this video is like a special video from other videos because here I am focusing about research in the field of classical Arabic, and this is important. So they propose like short term and mid long term and overall goal for classical Arabic. And in the short term, was the primary focus is on continuing to generate more training data to allow for further fine-tuning. And in mid to long term, the goal is to annotate the entire vast corpus of biographies using of course, maybe LLMs and develop tools to extract, I mean, the rich metadata, uh, uh, more than like names, persons, places, and dates. Okay, this is extracted information will then be organized into complex networks of thematic clusters representing the social and the professional and also the religious groups, and many of other applications we can come up with, right? So the goal here is to establish a new research framework for studying the social history of the Islamic world by identifying the weekly research topic. So this is actually very important to mention here. So in conclusion, like applying NLP to classical Arabic is really an amazing work, right? And it is allows us to unlock and analyze the wealth of information contained with the foundational language of a major global culture, let's say, and it is history. So, yeah, so in my opinion, by adapting these state-of-the-art NLP models and employing like efficient data, generate strategies, as they mentioned, active learning, and the other method will give like promising results. And as we seen, like it's achieved already like promising results, right? And this work like make a significant contribution actually, and it advanced like both Arabic NLP and also the Islamic studies and heritage of classical Arabic. So I hope we can get something in the future, the near future, let's say, about more data, more models when it comes to classical Arabic. And one of the things that we are working on actually is machine translation model that translate to classical Arabic, and also the opposite. So this is one of the nice ideas people can contribute and we can like provide something good for classical Arabic. So I hope you find this clear. You can I will put the links and everything related to the paper and the YouTube description of this video, and hopefully you can reach out more and discuss more if you need any help. Thank you.